Everyday Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion.
These women literally rule.
Peace and goodwill have lasting power in the hearts of men and women.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 historical women's leaders.
I believe that God gives men and women equal rights.
For this list, we've looked at the most important, iconic, and effective women's leaders throughout ancient and modern world history. Number 10, Queen Elizabeth II.
She's managed to modernise and evolve the monarchy like no other.
We begin our ascent to the throne with England's Queen and head of the Commonwealth. Her Royal Highness Elizabeth II is one of the most instantly recognizable women ever to have lived.
I must say, though, this dinner is a humbling reminder of the fleeting nature of presidencies and prime ministerships. Your Majesty's reign has spanned about a dozen of each.
The world's oldest reigning monarch, Britain's longest lived, and having recently surpassed Queen Victoria to become the UK's longest reigning head of state, she's been making history for years.
I have been deeply touched this year by the selflessness of aid workers and medical volunteers who have gone abroad to help victims of conflict.
She's a symbol of British and European tradition, but has also proven consistently adaptable to the ever-changing modern world. She's a royal one-off.
She very much leaves the family to go off and find their own way. If you get it wrong, stand by. You'll be put back in your place, which, quite rightly so.
Number 9, Indira Gandhi.
I've lived with danger all my life, and I think I've had a pretty full life. And it makes no difference whether you die in bed or you die standing up.
The only ever female Prime Minister of India so far, Indira Gandhi held the office for 4 non-consecutive terms between the years 1966 and 1984, holding roles as President of the Indian National Congress and Minister of Information and Broadcasting, before assuming full power as PM in 1966.
India has always tried to be on the side of peace and negotiations and so on. But of course we can't endanger our security in any way.
A surprisingly ruthless ruler, she was an exceptionally strong-willed woman, working in an until then man's world, bringing about great agricultural change in India itself through the poverty-tackling Green Revolution, and an influential figure in creating the standalone nation Bangladesh. Gandhi was one of the most important women of the 20th century. Number 8. Queen Victoria.
She has a very disciplined mind, she has a propensity for hard work and a quick intelligence, and she is strikingly sure of her own fitness to rule.
Officially titled Queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland and Empress of India, Queen Victoria was also affectionately known as the Grandmother of Europe.
When she becomes queen, she suddenly realizes that what she demands can happen.
Head of a royal family that stretched across an entire continent, this lady was internationally liked and respected. Victoria oversaw the Industrial Revolution in Britain. She held her own against political uprisings that dominated Europe during the mid-19th century. The legend says that she was not amused, but she was pretty incredible.
She was the matriarch responsible for the welfare of her subjects, in return expecting their love and respect. By the end, she'd got both.
Number 7. Sorghaghtani Beki. Daughter-in-law to Genghis Khan, Sorghaghtani Beki became arguably the most important, influential, and tactically impressive woman within the Mongol Empire following the legendary leader's death. Mother to 4 sons, she ensured that each of her offspring inherited at least some slice of Mongol rule, with probably the most significant portion held by second oldest Kublai, who founded the Yuan dynasty in China. A master manipulator, famed forward thinker, and a notably tolerant woman, it was said of Sorghaghtani that if there was another woman like her, the race of women would be far superior to that of men. Number 6. Benazir Bhutto.
They don't accept, they kill people and they think they won't even have to go to jail. They won't have to answer before a judge, and that's wrong.
Born into Pakistani politics, Benazir Bhutto is perhaps one of the bravest leaders to make today's countdown.
भुट्टो की हुकूमत खत्म हो चुकी है, सारे मुल्क में मार्शल नाफिज कर दिया गया है.
A victim to the military rule of General Muhammad Zia-ul-Haq, under whom her father, the former prime minister, was executed. She endured several spells in prison or exile before eventually spearheading the Pakistani People's Party to election success in 1988.
I was imprisoned and nearly died in prison because of neglect, there were death threats, there were many low moments.
Violent opposition forever dogged her charismatic leadership, however, culminating with her assassination in 2007. Having returned to Pakistan, concerned over the extremism erupting there, she was herself killed in a bombing right before the next general election.
I learned when I saw my father in prison that the most important thing in life is to serve the people. And when you go to the grave, you don't take any property with you.
Number 5, Angela Merkel.
She's very quiet, and I think that's what people like about her. She has a high standing in Germany because she's one of us.
Probably the most powerful woman in the world today, German Chancellor Angela Merkel is one of the most important voices within 21st century Europe. Unofficially titled The Decider, she has played a crucial role in piecing Europe back together since 2007's financial crisis, maintaining a firm grip upon the continent's precarious purse strings.
Dass die Wirtschaft der Politik und den Menschen zu dienen hat und nicht umgekehrt.
By expertly navigating herself and her country through the crisis, Merkel has managed to flourish where other European leaders have fallen.
Michelle and I are very much looking forward to hosting the Chancellor and Professor Zohr at tonight's state dinner, where I'll have the privilege of presenting Angela with the Medal of Freedom.
Holding office for 3 terms and counting, she is one of the longest-serving leaders on the planet.
Bürgerinnen und Mitbürger, auch im kommenden Jahr sollten wir gemeinsam alles daran setzen, den Zusammenhalt unseres Landes zu stärken. Er macht unsere Gesellschaft menschlich und erfolgreich.
Number 4, Margaret Thatcher.
The ladies not for turning.
The first and until now only female Prime Minister of Great Britain, Margaret Thatcher's time at number 10 Downing Street is never likely to be forgotten.
He would rather have the poor poorer, provided the rich were less rich. That is a liberal policy. Yes, it came out. He didn't intend it to.
An often ruthless leader, her hardline policies on social reform cuts, reductions in trade union influence, and mass privatization earned her almighty criticism.
We have seen a new birth of leadership in Britain, and that is the most important thing, the most enduring thing that is going to come out of this coal strike.
However, despite her apparent domestic opposition, Thatcher served for 3 terms until resigning from her post in 1990.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're leaving Downing Street for the last time after 11 and a half wonderful years, and we're very happy that we leave the United Kingdom in a very, very much better state.
The original Iron Lady, Thatcher knew how to talk the talk, but she was in no way afraid to walk the walk either.
Where there is discord, may we bring harmony. Where there is error, may we bring truth. Where there is doubt, may we bring faith.
Number 3, Cleopatra.
All hail Cleopatra, kindred of Horus and Ra, beloved of the moon and sun, daughter to Isis, and of Upper and Lower Egypt, queen.
We head into the years BC but once in today's top 10, but we do so for one of the most iconic women history has ever known.
Without a treaty of alliance with Egypt, you could not hold the territories under your command. True?
Possibly.
Then, Lord Antony, you come before me as a suppliant.
The last of the active pharaohs, upon her ascension to the throne in ancient Egypt, Cleopatra was seen as a reincarnation of the ideally matriarchal goddess Isis.
He starts to realize that he's involved with somebody quite unlike anything he's ever met. A lady who's an intellectual, a philosopher, with an enormous sense of humor and fun.
A life story famously adapted for stage and screen on more than one occasion. She fought against Rome with Mark Antony, but was ultimately unable to prevent Octavian's victory. Defiant until death, however, she committed suicide before the new Roman Empire was fully established. Number 2, Catherine II. More famously known as Catherine the Great, there are very good reasons why this Russian empress was given such a gracious moniker. Ruling for 34 years, she oversaw what's largely considered Russia's golden age, a period of massive modernization, bringing the country in line with the rest of Europe, and in fact beyond most of it. It saw advancement made in agriculture, education, the military, and the arts. Catherine also oversaw Russia's geographical growth, expanding the borders on all sides, even into Alaska. a celebrated ruler, she's beaten by just one other.
She really made Russia into a sort of super great power of its day, an imperial European power, in a way it hadn't really been even under Peter the Great.
Before we unveil our number one pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Join me now in expressing our congratulations and deepest gratitude to those who have this day, by God's grace, given to the nation the fully ripened fruit of freedom.
Emmeline Pankhurst uses the emotive words soldier, battle, war in her rallying speech in 1913 to embody the suffrage movement's grueling campaign.
Until her reign, only a handful of women had ruled Egypt, but none had attained the status of pharaoh.
Number 1. Joan of Arc.
Give me an army. Take me to Orleans.
The shortest lived of today's top 10, Joan of Arc's a literal legend of a leader. Following divine intervention allegedly experienced during her youth, she fought for Charles VII's ascension to the French throne, overcoming English opposition at Orleans against all odds. A figure who many believed to be a mythical virgin sent by God to save France, she was ultimately betrayed by Charles and burned at the stake as a heretic by the English. However, history remembers her as strong-willed, strongly admired, and incredibly brave. Canonized as a saint in 1920, hers is an altogether higher level of leadership. Do you agree with our list? Which women's leader do you think was the most important? For more inspirational top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.